Ho, ho, ho! The shot is still good as we close out 2023, and this is still Aztecs All In. Steve Perez, Louis Weiner, bringing you our look at San Diego State University Aztec athletics. This is the part where we say hello, or as he likes to say, hey, to Louis.
Ho, ho, how are you, Steve? Hope you're in the holiday spirit.
Ho, 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 ho. These sorts of things do help if you're watching the Three Stooges during our quality production, right? Anywho, among the topics we'll address on the second to the last Aztecs All In of the year, Aztecs men's basketball program taking a Christmas break before resuming preparations for its next test at Gonzaga. That's after making short work of that team from the Pack It In conference on Thursday. And 'tis the season to be jolly. None jollier than moi, looking upon the latest bright-eyed bunch of officially committed recruits during the early signing period in football. Also trying to keep up with the fastest-talking coach in the county, Sean Lewis. P.S. and by the way, if you're looking for the perfect stocking stuffer for the Aztec in your life, looks like there's a perfect suggestion via the email inbox courtesy of Aztec Link. So Lewis, how about you start us off with some Aztec hoops in the final home game of the season? Aztecs defeat Stanford 74-60 to sweep their early season games against the scatterlings of the Conference of Champions.
Thanks, Steve. But what? No big congratulations to the Aztecs? They just won the Conference of Champions with that win over Stanford. They really did, according to Coach Brian Dutcher.
Good win against Stanford. Like Coach Hacker said after the game, we've won the Pac-12. The last year of the Pac-12, we're 3-0, so we would gladly take it.
So there you go. Aztecs, champions of the Pac-12. Something I never thought I'd be able to say after the conference imploded before our very eyes in August, just when the Aztecs were about to get an invite from the no longer applicable Power 5 school. But you could also argue that the Aztecs barely won the Pac-12, with the two other wins coming in overtime against Washington and Cal, with the Aztecs blowing 12-point leads. So yes, a conference to remember for the Aztecs in the Pac-12, but the Mountain West story, well, that is still to be told. As for this latest Aztecs win over Stanford, it guarantees the Aztecs a 10-win non-conference record, regardless of what happens later this week against Gonzaga. This one started off poorly for the hometown heroes, with star Jaden Ledee back in the lineup after missing the last game over UC Irvine due to a sprained elbow, getting 2 quick fouls in the first half, and I mean quick. Just a minute 34 into the game, Ledee was pulled out and didn't return until the second half. That shouldn't be a surprise because according to the UT's Mark Ziegler, Dutcher ranks 340th this season in, quote, 2 fouls participation, which tracks how often coaches play guys with 2 fouls in the first half, and Dutcher ranks 340th in Division I at just 3.6%. The first half was a tight one with 9 ties and 10 lead changes. The Aztecs were only able to go to halftime with a 34-32 lead thanks to their late first half heroics player of the year, Darian Trammell, who for the 4th time this season hit a shot at the buzzer to give the Aztecs that first half lead. But the second half, with Ledee back in the lineup, was a different story. Aztecs came out scorching hot, going on a 13-3 run, with Ledee accounting for 5 points, Reese Waters with 6, and Lamont Butler, 2, with a diving dunk. It was Butler's best game of the season as he finished with 18 points, and Steve will have more on that in just a minute. But he keeps struggling from the free throw line, going just 1 of 4, and he's just shooting 35.7% on the season. After the early second half surge, Stanford was only able to get within 10 the rest of the way, and the Aztecs cruised to a 74-60 win. After the game, Coach Dutcher spoke highly of one of his freshmen, who he says really came through for the Aztecs after Ledee had to sit out.
I was worried about Stanford. Obviously, they're shorthanded, missing Spencer Jones. So that we were happy to see that. I felt bad for them, but happy for us. And we knew we had to stop them in transition. They're making 9 threes a game. I think they hit 2 against us. We did a good job rebounding. Obviously, Jaden in foul trouble. I thought Heidi came in back-to-back games and has really asserted himself on the offensive glass. So it's good to see Miles step in that pressure situation and really deliver for us. And then obviously having Jaden back on the floor made a big difference in the second half. So I thought we guarded at a decent level. And I tell him at the end of the game, you know, I have a standard that I want him to play to, which sometimes is they might feel is not fair, but I want them to be the best they can be, and I do it selfishly for them as well as myself. And so we have to get better. We have to get better in certain areas, and I think we will, because they're willing learners. They believe in the message, and it's a good group. And I told them the most important thing right now is go home and enjoy your family. Spend Christmas with family. Don't think about Aztec basketball for 3 days, and then we'll come back on the 25th, practice on the 26th, and get ready for Gonzaga on the 29th. We're 10-2. Obviously, you want to be 12-0, but 10-2 with the schedule we played is pretty good. And we're healthy, we're getting better, and we have to continue that growth into the new year.
So conference play right around the corner, and right now it appears the Mountain West Conference could be in play for, would you believe, 5 spots in the NCAA tournament. Right now, 5 Mountain West teams are ranked in the top 40 of the NCAA's net metric rankings. But Steve, for the Aztecs to reach their peak of the Mountain West, get it? They'll need more games from Butler like this one.
And we do appreciate these interviews that come courtesy of the Aztecs. How about Lamont Butler, Lewis? Since Brian Dutcher became head coach of the Aztecs, he is one of just 3 players to record at least 18 points, 4 assists, and 4 steals in a game. The other 2, Malachi Flynn and Jalen McDaniels, both now with the Toronto Raptors. That game against the team with a tree for a mascot is now officially in the rearview mirror, though. Ahead, a bit of a break from basketball until Christmas, and then they have a get-together then? Is that right? The day after that, though, officially, it's time to start practicing and focusing on the Zags. It's the first game in a quick home-and-home series featuring 2 of the biggest names in college basketball on the West Coast. Game 1 at McCarthy Athletic Center in Spokane, Washington, December 29th. That's a Friday. The Zags return the favor at Viejas Arena next season. 5th meeting between these 2 schools. In 2017, the Aztecs pulled the upset of Viejas over then number 12th ranked Gonzaga. The all-time series knotted at 2 games apiece, and Lewis, in each of those wins, Gonzaga was nationally ranked at the time, and so they are again. This year, number 15, 9-3, Aztecs Lamont Butler and Jaden Ledee say, bring it, Zags.
You know, we love the challenge. We know Gonzaga's a really good team. We haven't really watched much on them yet, but they're ranked now, and you know, they're a really good team. We're gonna be focused when the time comes after we, you know, spend this last couple of days with our family.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just basketball. There's another team up there, and we're going to go out there, we're going to play our brand of basketball, and we're going to come compete. I mean, that's what we do.
Game time, 6 p.m., ESPN2. The Analytics favor Gonzaga, a high-scoring team with wins over Yale? Ivy League. And they have losses to ranked teams, Purdue and UConn. And they have a bunch of players who can light up the scoreboard. A 6'9" forward, Graham Ike, who scored 22, pulled down 11 rebounds in their most recent win over Jackson State. Another forward, Anton Watson, who was 6'8", went nuts against UCLA earlier, scoring 32. And that's just for starters. It's a good test for the Aztecs defense before heading into conference play. So, Lewis, for the Aztecs, the challenging schedule continues.
It does, Steve. And speaking of challenges, that's what the Aztecs' new football coach, Sean Lewis, and his staff had to deal with, recruiting at a frenzied pace to bring in new players after being hired just weeks before National Signing Day. So it now seems that the term Aztecs Fast doesn't just describe Coach Lewis's high-flying offense. With more than 20 players from last season's team entering the transfer portal, Coach Lewis had to work fast, and he did, announcing a 26-man class that includes 15 high school seniors and 11 college transfers. It looks like a good group, too, because according to Rivals.com, the Aztecs class was judged to be number 1 in the Mountain West Conference. On the day Lewis was announced as the new Aztecs football coach, he talked about getting the best players in San Diego County to stay in San Diego and play for the Aztecs, and 3 of those new recruits are hometown players. Carlsbad High wide receiver Will Cianfrini, and 2 from Mater D Catholic, running back Anthony McMillan Jr. and cornerback Isaiah Buxton. The new class also includes a 4-star recruit, defensive back Jason Mitchell II, out of Bellflower St. John High School. He's just the 3rd 4-star high school recruit signed by SDSU in the past decade. The 2 new additions that probably excite Aztecs fans the most are 2 high-profile quarterbacks now on the Mesa. One, a highly touted freshman from Indiana, Danny O'Neill, who decommitted from Colorado after Lewis left that program, and the other, a former 4-star quarterback transferring from Florida State, A.J. Duffy.
It's a deep, meaningful relationship, right? We go way back from when I identified him at Kent State. I knew he was going to be above our head there, right? And then got to Colorado and early offered him and built that relationship out, really got to know what was important to him and his family, and those roots and those connections that we've talked about a lot since we've been here, about how it's people and building trust. They were able to withstand a lot that has transpired, and to bring him here, to have him on the Mesa with us, again, really excited, right? He'll be here in January. He's an early enrollee, and again, just like Bucks and just like Tate, he's going to have an opportunity to compete. We'll put the ball down and we'll see where things sort out. I think his competitive nature makes him unique. He's a very humble and hungry kid. He has a wide breadth of skills and abilities. He's not just a pocket passer. He can move outside the pocket. He's very accurate. When you get invited to the Elite 11, you're one of the 11 best in the country. Your skill set and your mindset is pretty high. A.J. Duffy, bringing him back home, originally from the Inland Empire, right? Formerly a 4-star, top 200 prospect. Went to Florida State, had a good experience there where he learned and he grew. And again, he's a kid that can do everything at a really, really high level. And between those 2 additions to the room and the 3 quarterbacks that we have in the room, I'm looking forward to having competitive depth in that room and across the whole organization, right? To win a championship, we have to have competitive depth in each and every single room. We have to have competitive maturity to know that jobs are going to be earned and not just given through the organization. And excited for everyone to show up and compete when we get rolling here in January.
The tight end plays a major role in Lewis's high-flying offense due to the versatility of the position, and the Aztecs will bring in 3 new players to compete. 2 are freshmen, and another is a junior college transfer. The freshmen are Arthur Ban out of Evergreen High School in Vancouver, Washington, and Ryan Wolfer out of Liberty High School in Peoria, Arizona. And the transfer, who will be a sophomore coming out of the program, is Gabe Garrettson from Chico, who most recently played at Butte College. That's the JC, most known for where New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers got his start. Lewis talked a little bit about what makes the tight end position so important in his Aztecs' fast offense.
Yeah, so that guy needs to be a transformer in what we do, right? He has to have the ability to detach and flank out. He has to have the ability to be in line. He has to bring a skill set to where he can be a route runner and a pass catcher, and he has to add value in the run game, right? So he's got to be a high football IQ guy. When our offenses have been at their best, that guy has been very multiple for us, so we can get into multiple sets, again, provide as much stress to the defense as possible by aligning and utilizing that guy's skill set in a lot of different ways without changing our personnel, so we don't have to slow down. So Art and Wolfer, are going to give us that ability from a high school standpoint, and then bringing in Gabe as well from the JUCO ranks. Again, it just provides depth to the room. It provides competitive balance to the room, and we'll see who responds the best way to go compete as we move forward.
Steve, of the 26 new players signed, just 2 are offensive linemen, one a freshman and the other a transfer. But Coach Lewis says not to worry, there will be more coming in. He says big bodies are at a premium, and coaches don't want to overreach and put a guy out there who can't help them win. He says the coaches will continue to vet those O-linemen that are still available to make sure the team has the depth that it needs.
Lewis, at this point, it's nice to have these 2 quality quarterbacks who will vie with others for the starting job, and a high-quality class of high school recruits and transfers. There's also that mid-year, aka junior college signing period that is now on. It's running through mid-January, and a regular signing period from February the 7th to April 1st. Overall, the thing to keep in mind from here is we're talking sea change in the Aztecs roster and coaching staffs after years of stability. as staid as that offense was to fans. Now, saying the right things and having the right flashy offensive credentials got Lewis the job. And he is still in his honeymoon period, so hopefully he's still getting everything from the program that he's asking for as that new guy with the big smile, the bushy beard, and the can-do attitude. Winning football games, though, will help him keep the job, or, in a case like Lewis and the position at San Diego State, presumably propel him to even greater heights. It's a much different situation than the Aztecs' most recent successful coaches in their careers. A guy like Rocky Long would be happy just coaching and not having to deal with all the other tasks associated with being a head coach. And then in Hook's case, he was a guy who had been there and done that and happened to be in the right place at the right time to do it one more time with the Aztecs. Now, presumably, Lewis, with all these recruits, will be given time over a period of a couple of years at least to develop his own roster, his guys, his way of doing things, his Aztec fast offense, a new 4-2-5 defense. I hope they still have one of those guys playing a warrior position on defense, by the way. But a winning record next season with such a turnover would be a bonus, I would think. More reasonably, perhaps, a few more fans in the new stadium, watching a more up-tempo, new school style of football, maybe garnering some national attention if the scoreboard lights up enough. Conversely, many Aztecs from the old regime, some 24 by the count of Kirk Kenney of the Union Tribune, have thrown their names into the transfer portal. That portal and NIL money is the bane of schools such as San Diego State and traditional coaches like Brady Hoke, who did not enjoy how their beloved college game had changed from the one they had grown used to over the decades. At this point, for the fan on the fence when it comes to buying a season ticket, I wouldn't be surprised if many still wanted to watch a few games from a distance on the telly, see how the new regime's charges perform on the field, before laying down their own hard money on a ticket. All these players now signed, still on the roster as of now, all eligible to hit the practice field in the spring starting March 12th. The new look Aztecs expected to play a spring game sometime in April. Now that look at those on the roster in live action is, in my mind, a big milestone for the new Aztecs football program. Recruits and transfers always look good on paper.
Steve, you're right. They do always look good on paper, but one thing Lewis said really stood out to me. He says it really matters to him whether a recruit comes from a winning program. He says as the workload, intensity, and expectations of the players increase, it's not as steep a transition for players from winning programs. So Coach Lewis says he puts a lot of weight on that.
So finally, Lewis, about that stocking stuffer I mentioned at the outset. Received a missive recently from our NIL friends at Aztec Link about another opportunity for a signed autograph of The Shot by Lamont Butler. You know, that walk-off buzzer beater that had Aztecs athletic director J.D. Wicker hugging Aztecs legend Steve Fisher at the end. Now, that can be yours if you are an Aztec Link member and have the funds available for a framed or unframed shot. It's somewhere north of $4, and it should get you your favorite Aztec a last-minute stocking stuffer. Hint, hint, Lewis. It's a limited edition, and you can check it out at azteclink.com/the-shot. It's either that or the actual photo, if one exists, of JD and Coach Fisher hugging it out after Lamont knocked that one down. Again, Lewis, hint, hint. Why do I think that the most I'm going to get out of you is heartfelt, happy holidays? So here's one back at you, Lewis. Happy holidays.
Here you go, Steve. Happy holidays right back at you. And you mentioned Aztec Link. So before we go, I want to mention that the collective is now partnering with the We Believe Network, which will serve as the content division of Aztec Link. It's a subscription level through Aztec Link, and it costs $6.99 a month, and members will be given exclusive access to videos, photos, and other content throughout the year. However, Steve, if you are currently a Spear, Shield, or Warrior member of Aztec Link, you will get immediate access to the We Believe Network at no additional cost. What a deal. And that will do it for this holiday edition of Aztecs All In. Please like or subscribe to Aztecs All In wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. As always, you can drop us a line at aztecsallin@gmail.com or follow us at the X at Aztecs_all_in. For Steve Perez, I'm Louis Weiner, wishing you and yours the very happiest of holiday seasons, and we'll talk to you next time.